Hello, good evening and welcome to another edition of Business Life. Coming up, government plans to borrow more than 24 billion Ghana cedis through issuance of fresh treasury bills for the third quarter of this year as concerns grow over the country's rising debts. We shall be discussing that. Also in this bulletin, LPG marketers start the boycott of two of industry giants, Blue Ocean and Sage Petroleum, following plans by the firms to sell gas directly to consumers under the cylinder recirculation model. We are live with the NPA and also the LPG Marketers Association. Plus, EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair Mini set to Guard Park near Accra Mall, and this month we will be getting more updates on this event and what is in for homeowners.
Owner or potential homeowner, it gives you an opportunity to shop everything you need at a stop. So we have all the suppliers in the housing value chain at one stop.
We have details of this and more for you. Please stay. Thanks so much for your time. I am Pius Kojobaka. We can now settle and take a look at our stories. Government is planning to borrow more than 24 billion Ghana cedis through the issuance of fresh treasury bills. This was contained in government's issuance calendar for the third quarter of this year. There is more in the following report.
Government in all is planning to issue treasury bills worth 7 billion cedis for the third quarter of this year. Out of these short-term papers, 53.8 billion cedis of it will be treasury bills that have matured, and the Finance Ministry is planning to roll over, while the remaining 24.6 billion cedis will be fresh funds that it is planning to raise from the market. According to issuance calendar, this is to help government meet its financing obligations for the next 2 months. Government in the notice maintained that raising funds from the domestic market is in line with conditions under the IMF program. However, for some market watchers, they are still worried about the level of borrowing and how it could affect efforts to bring the country's debt to sustainable levels.
One of our headline stories we are following up for you, the LPG marketers have started the boycott of two of industry giants, Blue Ocean and Sage Petroleum. The action has been influenced by plans by these two firms to now start selling gas directly to consumers under the cylinder recirculation model. Now, there are fears that the move would lead to limited supply of products on the market. But the marketers are downplaying this concern, insisting they would depend on other bulk suppliers for products. And I want to bring in the communications manager of the National Petroleum Authority, Mohammed Abdul Qadus, for some discussion on this. Of course, we shall also get in touch with the LPG marketers as and when we do have them. We shall bring them on stream to have a fruitful discussion on this subject matter. Thanks so much, Mohammed, for joining us on Business Live. First off, I want to understand what you make of the concerns expressed by the LPG marketers, especially when it comes to the granting of licenses to Blue Ocean and Sage Petroleum to operate under the cylinder recirculation model. Rather unfortunate, we don't seem to have Mohammed Abdul Qadus. He is the communications manager of the National Petroleum Authority. As and when we do get him, we shall bring him on to speak to us on the subject matter, which has to do with LPG Marketers Association boycotting, All right, so I'm told Gabriel has joined us for some discussion on this matter as well. Thanks so much, Gabriel, for joining us on Business Live. So the decision to boycott is because of these two companies now selling LPG directly to consumers, right?
Not directly. If I would take us a little bit back, about 2 years ago, we had a meeting with these two companies in the premises of NPA. And we, the association, presented a position that we are ready to be part of CRM. We should be allowed to mount cages at our stations so we can sell these bottles in addition to what we do, because we've already agreed that the two systems should run side by side. That is what we understood running the two systems side by side to mean. That you come to our station, you have the filled bottles in a cage, and then you have the old system, the refilling system. So that if Pius comes and he has enough money to buy the full cylinder, we give we give the full cylinder to him. If I go to the station to buy LPG and I don't have enough to buy the full cylinder, I'm given the opportunity to buy whatever quantity I want by using the refilling system. These two companies kicked strongly against that assertion by our association for reasons best known to themselves. And eventually they managed to get MPA on their side, convince MPA that we should not be allowed to run the two system in our premises. You are introducing a new policy, and that policy has an existing infrastructure. We have an existing infrastructure that we can use to distribute LPG stations. We thought the most obvious thing to do was to start from that. But this was kicked against, and we were made to understand that the only way we will be allowed to be part of CRM is to decommission all the equipment in our station and throw them away virtually. Because we asked whether if we decommission, we are going to be compensated for, and they said no, there's no compensation. Mind you, this is the equipment that costs on the average between $200,000 and $250,000. So how do we commission those equipment and throw them away? These equipments were bought with loans. And even the decommission itself, to decommission one single LPG station, you need not less than $10,000 to be able to do that. Just one LPG station. Who pays for that cost? And even after decommissioning, we have over 1,500 bullets, that is tanks, in our outlets. After decommissioning this tank, where do we anything of that? Then MPA came to tell us that the another way they will also allow us to be part of this is also to go and set up a completely new exchange point and to be able to be part of this. And we have said that no, we have an existing structure. Let's make use first of the existing structure. Then
it's rather unfortunate. Gabriel's line has frozen, and we shall rectify that and bring Gabriel as and when he gets that line fixed. But we are also making frantic efforts to speak to Mohammed Abdul Qadus of the NPA. As and when he also joins us, we shall bring him on. But let's make way for this story quickly. All is set for the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Mini Fair at the Good Park near Accra Mall in August, or on August 30th to September 1. But how different will this event be from the past ones? Let's get more details from the General Manager, Marketing at Multimedia Group, Max Fuga.
The Habitat Fair is being organized under the theme, home ownership. Get a house, make it a home. We've started about 2 months ago with the first clinic at the Achimota Mall. We've had a second clinic in Tema. We've decided to do the third clinic, or the mini fair, at the Accra Mall. Now, the difference between the main fair and the mini fair is that the mini fair is to give the opportunity to the exhibitors to engage their clients and partners in a more congenial and conducive environment. Two things. Let me first talk about what is innate for the exhibitors. So you have an opportunity to build on your brand presence, because you're probably in a village somewhere doing something, or community doing something. People don't know you, and so the fair gives you that opportunity to put your brand presence, or to build upon your brand presence. It also gives the exhibitor the opportunity to network, okay, with clients, potential clients, and even business partners, and also to learn from industry experts. Now, for the homeowner or potential homeowner, it gives you an opportunity to shop everything you need at a stop. So we have all the suppliers in the housing value chain at one stop. So if it's about land acquisition, you have the people there. If it's about acquisition, you want to buy the full house, you have the suppliers there. If it's about roofing, you have the suppliers there. If it's about mortgage, you have the financial institutions there. If you're about the legal bits, we've introduced the legal side where we have lawyers on hand to assist. And so it's a one-stop shop for any potential homeowner to be there. We've made deliberate efforts to ensure that every single service provider in the housing chain is there. And so for the exhibitor, you meet your potential partners. We are expecting no less than 10,000 people at the main fair. And so we are bringing the audience to your doorstep. To the sponsors, we are giving them value for their money. And to the patrons, you can shop everything housing at the Joy News Habitat Fair. The third mini fair will take place at the Accra Mall, the Good Park at the Accra Mall, from August 30th to September 1st. The main fair will take place at the Accra International Conference Center at the end of October.
All right, so let's cross over to our earlier story. I was telling you about the cylinder recirculation model and the impasse between the marketers and, of course, the NPA for that matter. And earlier we had Gabriel Kumi, the Vice President of the Marketers Association, elaborating to us what really transpired between the association, of course, the NPA, and was making a point. I'm told he's joining us on stream to conclude that point for us. So, Gabby, as you talk to us about that, there are concerns that this is likely to have an impact on the industry.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, loud and clear.
Yeah, okay.
Sincere apologies.
Can I go on?
Gabby.
Okay, so after we had been barred from taking part in the CRM with our existing network, we then saw NPA issuing LPG marketing license to some of these companies. And then what we have seen recently is that these two companies have started coming into the retail and distribution space. They started mounting containers and cages opposite and beside LPG stations, even against NPA's own regulation on distance. So we felt that you cannot use one of your arms, your left hand, to be doing business with us by lifting product from you. You get a lot of funds, and then you use the right hands to clear us of the system by competing with us in the distribution space. So we felt that, look, there are a lot of BDCs that are doing LPG in Tema.
All right,
so why,
Gabby, as we barely have time, so as Qadus is on with us, I just want you to make this point for me. Do you think that the boycott will solve this issue, really?
Well, we are not boycotting to solve any issue. We are boycotting to let them know that you cannot eat your cake and have it. You can't, on one breath, pretend to be doing business with us, and another breath, you are kicking us out of business. So we are not boycotting to achieve any negative objective, but we are just boycotting to let them know that what they are doing is unfair to us. It's as simple as that.
Let's hear from the National Petroleum Authority. Abdul, Qadus, thanks so much for joining the conversation. You've heard the concerns raised by the LPG Marketers Association. A quick reaction to that.
Thank you for having me. Let me say good evening to Gabby. I think I'm struggling actually to understand exactly what the situation is, because so the bottling companies he's talking about are selling through oil marketing companies that they have a working relationship with. So it is not as though they are selling directly to the market. And this is what the policy allows. The policy does not allow the bulk producer, if you want, to do the retailing. You can't do that. If you are going to retail, then you have to be doing through an existing OMC that you have a relationship with, or ordinarily for anybody who would want to come into the space, the person should be coming through an existing LPGMC. That is the structure. So what we have actually agreed and have established as part of the policy going forward is that, look, it is okay for the existing LPGMCs to sell their product in the method that they are currently doing, side by side with CRM. But if they indeed want to go side by side with CRM and also participate in the CRM, as it were, picking the cylinders from the bottling plants and selling them to the consumers, you cannot have those bottles from the bottling plants branded in their colors, as it were, kept at the very existing filling station that they are operating. We are saying that no, open and extended satellite stations that are closer to the consumer and you can sell that. In other words, we are telling them to have many more branches. Okay, so it is not as though we're telling them that we cannot have them in business or trying to collapse their business or trying to tell them that they cannot participate in the CRM. We're only saying that the modus would have to be tweaked a little bit.
But what has been the Mohammed, what has been the prior engagement on this very topic we are talking about? What has been the level of engagement with
series of engagement with the LPGMCs? We've had series of engagement, and that has actually allowed a certain modification to some previous positions that we actually had, because we wanted to go with them. We wanted to have their concerns actually factored into the whole rolling up of the CRM. Remember, part of our responsibility is to ensure that they have a return on their investment. So the last thing we would do is to do anything that stifles a certain return on their investment. So not in the manner that the communication is coming up at all. We are only saying that this is the policy with which to run. We are allowing you to run side by side with CRM. But if you decide to participate in CRM, do not establish the cage within the very precincts that you are operating the current model. And that is not to say that there is a certain expectation of a bigger investment in opening another outlet. Because if you look at the cost that you need to establish an outlet to run a CRM, I'm not sure it is even up to 1/5 of what it costs to establish an LPGMC station. Okay, and so if you're going to have an outlet outside and have a cage, first of all, the size of the land is small. The cage that you're going to put up there comparatively is going to be of a lesser value. And so you are not going to have a larger capital outlay to do an extended version, okay, where you would have the cylinders that you pick from the bottling plant actually sited. So it is not as though we are saying that by shutting the current LPGMCs from participating in CRM. We're only saying that, yes, you're welcome, but this is the policy, and this is how you're going to go up by rate.
But as we speak now, the marketers have boycott, doing business with two of the industry giants, Ocean Blue and, of course, Sage Petroleum. So what's going to be the next line of action for the authority when it comes to this implementation of this whole policy?
No, obviously, it's an association. Their decisions are not going to be a certain compulsion on their members. It is for them to want to decide who to do business with. It is not for NPA to direct them. But obviously, where we think that there is a certain chaos going to be introduced into it, we would have to find a way of arresting that so that the consumer ultimately is not denied of the product. And that is why we are watching the space. We would certainly be having a lot of the engagement behind the scenes. And we would make sure that at least we're able to get cool heads and ultimately get the product out there for consumers. We'll be speaking behind a closer to get them to understand and probably move away from their entrenched position. But I want to repeat this. The bulk producers, as it were, in New Gas and Blue Oceans, do not sell directly to the consumer at all. They are selling through a subsidiary allowed by the law, given the working relationship to do so. But we're saying that the LPGMCs can't run their business as it is today with the current model, but still participate in the CRM. The only departure is going to be that when you pick the bottle from the bottling plants, do not plant them on the same premises that you operate. Have a separate place. And so there will be that distinction. That's all we're saying per the policy and guidelines of the authority. But any other person who want to come into the space to participate in the selling of LPG must come through the LPGMCs. That tells you how we have prioritized them in this whole setup and the promotion of the CRM.
That's fair. I want to get a quick response from Gabby. Gabby, you've heard an explanation given by the NPA. I guess that should suffice.
It doesn't suffice at all. It does not suffice because you don't decide for the private man when he should expand. That is why we are saying we have an existing infrastructure. Allow us to begin the CRM from there. Every Ghanaian in this country knows where to find gas if he wants one. So why do you want us to push us to go and find another money to invest in a completely parallel distribution network to be able to be part of CRM? Where we have LPG stations, about 800 LPG stations, that can accommodate the CRM safely. Why do you push us to go and invest in a different distribution channel? Allow the private sector to expand by their own will. Okay, you don't push out the 800 stations that we have built in Ghana. Nobody pushed that to do that. We did that on our own. We did our surveys and research, and we found that there was a need for us to do that, and we did them. Now, let me also state that this is not going to create any shortage in the system.
All right.
Those are just 2 of about 6 or 5 or 6 depots in Tema. And I can assure you, apart from those 2, the rest of the depots are capable of satisfying the whole market in Ghana. We haven't said anybody should stop CRM. Go ahead, but we choose who to do business with.
All right.
We are private individuals. If we are not comfortable doing business,
in a minute, Qadus said, Gabby, in a minute, if you can indulge me.
Let me land. Brother Qadus knows very well that new gas which has started coming into the retail space belong to State Petroleum. He knows it.
But at the end of the day, we've got to make progress, Gabby. We've got to make progress. So NPA is saying that, well, they are open to engage. Are you also willing to do that? We've got to make progress.
Anytime they call us, even if my brother Qadus wants us to meet tonight at NPA and discuss issues, we are prepared to go. We have never refused to go to them. Anytime they call us, otherwise, non-otherwise, you rush to them to sit down and discuss with them.
Very well. Thank you very much. Vice President of the LPG Marketers Association, Gabby, speaking to us there. And of course, earlier we heard NPA Communications Manager Abdul Qadus speaking to us as well. Thanks so much for being part of today's edition of Business Life. I am Pius Kojobaka. See you at 8 p.m.